When I visited the Smithsonian Museum, I stood inches from the boxing gloves of the greatest, Muhammad Ali. And as I stared at those gloves, I recalled watching footage in a documentary. The day was October 30, 1974, a day that was considered the greatest sporting event of the 20th century. Two of the world's best heavyweight boxers were to face each other in Kinshasa, Zaire, the rumble in the jungle. Our first contestant was the younger, stronger, and undefeated George Foreman, facing off against the legendary, but older, Muhammad Ali. Even as a legend, Muhammad Ali was considered the underdog in this match. And I wondered what it was that drove Muhammad Ali to fight for his dreams. There was something that made him different. You see, he didn't just wake up one morning and know that he was destined to be the greatest boxer to ever live. The fight started before he ever threw a punch. Each fight was won in his mind before he ever set foot in the ring. And it made me think about my own life. We've all met someone who has overcome horrible adversity and been able to bounce back. And we know other people who have had one small problem and not been able to go on with life. It is clear that some people show more resilience than others. But we need to live with resilience. And to do so, we have to shift the way we think about our problems. So today we are first going to lace up our gloves and talk about the importance of resilience. Then let's throw some punches and learn why we have an inherent resistance to resilience. And finally, we'll be up against the ropes. But when we knock out some solutions, we're going to win the fight, even if it takes all 12 rounds. Ding ding! Round one. Let's lace up our gloves and learn about resilience. To paraphrase the American Psychological Association, resilience is the ability to triumph over trouble. It is the ability to adjust successfully to difficulties, the ability to bounce back. As the wise philosopher Mystical once said, "You keep bumping me against the wall. Yeah, I know I let you slide before, but until you see me, trust, you ain't seen bouncing back." Boom! You know, if you've ever said, "I give up," you're not alone. The American Society for PTSD estimates that trauma is common, with at least 60% of men and 50% of women in the United States experiencing trauma at least once in their lifetimes. Trauma comes in many different forms: poverty, grief, horrific accidents, health conditions, or simply the feeling that life hasn't turned out the way that we've expected. Those are all reasons why someone may feel like giving up or throwing in the towel. We've all been at our lowest and hit the proverbial wall. Times when we say, "I can't make it through this circumstance, this bankruptcy, this diagnosis, this ended relationship," and we can't go on any further. But at that same moment, there is something slow and sometimes minuscule deep down on the inside of us that says, "But maybe I can try one more time." That is the voice of resilience, the small glimmer of hope telling us to get up and try one more time, even if it hurts, even if we can't get a full breath, even if it feels futile. We feel the urge to get up and try life one more time. Because if we give up, we lose all momentum. Meanwhile, life just keeps hitting. Each day brings its own challenger. And whatever the size, we have to keep our gloves up. Ding ding! Round two. Now, let's throw some punches and talk about why we as a society have an inherent resistance to resilience. Society is full of chaos and uncertainty right now. According to Professor John Allegrante at Columbia University, the COVID pandemic has had a lasting impact on adolescents' mental health decline. We must find ways to survive as healthier people. Now, many people argue that if you're not born resilient, you can never develop the skill. But I argue that resilience isn't something that you're born with, and grit and fortitude are not natural qualities, but it takes practice and effort to develop these. They are learned skills. In the words of Muhammad Ali, I don't count all the sit-ups. I only start counting when it starts hurting, because those are the only ones that matter. That is what makes you a champion. Many times when we face obstacles or difficulties, we make mistakes, our response is to say, I'm a loser, or I'm a creep. But that kind of thinking is a dead end. There's no solution to being a continual loser. Nicholas Cole of Inc. magazine writes that unrealistic expectations are often so deep-rooted that it is easier for people to decide that they have failed than to learn from their mistakes, adapt to new ways, and press on. People would rather give up than change with the journey. But we have to learn to keep on putting in effort, even when we don't see success initially, or we feel a lack of motivation, because without a spark of inspiration, we have to work even harder at fighting. Resilience takes keeping on throwing punches even when we don't feel like it. And more importantly, it takes never throwing in the towel. And now for round 3. We're feeling tired, exhausted, like it's time to give up. Our opponent has us up against the ropes, and we're unsure how this fight is going to play out. But we need some solutions. There are 3 things we can do to increase our resilience. Number 1, resilience is responding to a serious situation with hope. According to Dr. Chan Hellman at the University of Oklahoma, the past several years have made it more important now than ever for Americans to hold on to their hope. We have to view both our present and our future in a positive way in order to change our circumstances. Hope is a key indicator for success and resilience. Secondly, as explained in Harvard Business Review, resilient people face reality and make meaning of hardship. Many people, when they're faced with adversity, they say, how can this be happening to me? They see themselves as victims, but their hardships really carry no lessons for them. To be resilient, on the other hand, we have to shift the way we think about that problem. We have to stop saying, why me? And say, why not me? We can find more than we have lost from adversity, and that meaning makes the adversity manageable. And third and finally, we have to shift the way we think not only about our problems, but about ourselves. We have to change the way we think about our story, because only then can we change our story. I've had to find resilience in my own life. When I was born, the doctors noticed I was naturally right-handed, and I reached out for everything with my right hand. But because of my limb difference, I had to force myself to do everything with my left hand, against my natural will. I assumed that it would be too difficult for me to accomplish a lifelong dream of playing the guitar. Because of my limb difference, I thought it would be too difficult. But the day I finally did, I couldn't believe it. It was painful physically and strenuous mentally, but I was playing. I took lessons, and the teacher couldn't teach me ways to adapt. I had to learn every song to be able to play it with my unique hands. But now, I play in a rock band, and I've performed in one of the top 10 music venues in the nation. It's been 4 years now, and I haven't found a song yet that I cannot play without enough time, energy, and ingenuity. So there was Muhammad Ali, up against the ropes. He knocks out George Foreman, shocking his opponent and the world. So what are you going to do the next time you cannot stand up straight from the hits of life? The challenges may seem insurmountable, but lace up your gloves with hope. Throw some punches by remembering why you're fighting, and then, just when you're up against the ropes, shift your mindset and win that match.